Hi Algebra! You have two main things I'd like you to do today. Number one is to start putting work in your notebook, and I'll talk about pretty vaguely how I'd like you to organize that. And then number two is to practice solving some equations. So first of all, your notebook. Here's mine for the class, just a composition notebook, and I skipped the first page so I can use this as a table of contents. Just because where my notes are might be hard to find if I just put them wherever. So I'm gonna number the pages so I can find them. So in the two inside pages, one, I put a copy of the notes, which are the main concepts that we went over during our Zoom meeting yesterday. I will go ahead and put a picture of these in the resource section for today. If you aren't sure exactly what to write, you are welcome to copy my notes. I would put that on page 2 and then use pages 3, 4, however many you need to work the practice problems for today. So I always like to work a few examples that are problems off the homework that you're being asked to do. So let's start with number 1. The first step from our notes is to get rid of parentheses. We don't have any parentheses, so we can skip number 1. Step 2 says eliminate fractions. We also don't have any fractions, so we can skip that step. Number 3 is combine like terms on each side of your equation. So on the left-hand side, we have one term with our variable and a number. And on the right-hand side, we have one number. So there's nothing we can combine. The last step here is going to be to get your variable alone. And we're going to use some of the equality properties we talked about in our Zoom meeting yesterday. On the left-hand side, we have 2x minus 8 equals negative 26. And we're trying to get x all alone away from the other numbers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move 8 to the other side by adding 8 to both sides. So plus 8. Remember, if you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other. And that gives us 2x minus 26 plus 8, which equals negative 18. Now I have 2 times x equals negative 18. And I want to get x alone, so I am going to divide both sides by 2, so I can get an equation that is x equals. So divide this side by 2, and this side by 2, and that gives you x equals negative 9. I also wanted to work number 21 as an example, because even though this problem looks more complicated, you're still following the exact same steps. So step number 1 is get rid of parentheses. So we're going to get rid of these parentheses by distributing negative 5 to the terms inside. So negative 5 times 1x is going to give us negative 5x. Negative 5 times 10 is going to be negative 50. And because we distributed, we don't have to do anything to this side. It's only if we add or subtract or multiply or divide by new terms that it has to happen to both sides. So this still equals negative 60. All right, step 2 is get rid of fractions, but we don't have any fractions. Step 3 is to group like terms on each side. Well, we have an x and a number on this side and a number on this side, so there's nothing that we need to regroup. So now we can use the properties of equations to solve for x. I have negative x minus 50, so to get x alone on this side, I'm going to add 50. And I'm going to have to do that to both sides. Left side is now going to be negative 5x, and that equals negative 60 plus 50, or negative 10. Now I'm going to use the division property of equations to solve for 1x. So divide both sides by negative 5. So I have negative 10 over negative 5. The negatives cancel, which is going to equal 10 over 5. And if I simplify that, then my answer is going to be 2. Remember that I have office hours every day. So if you are stuck on any of the problems or confused with any of the work that we're doing, go ahead and come to office hours, and I bet in 10 minutes or less we can figure out how to get you set straight. So I'll make sure that I include a link in the resources for today, and it should also be on your calendar in Teams if you ever want to drop in and can't find the link.